get started. So the Maurice, Mary Say is a chocolate producer and is introducing a new shape for one of her more popular chocolate truffles. The original truffle was in the shape of a right cylinder with a radius of 2 centimeters and a height of 3.25 centimeters. The new one is equivalent Okay, we're getting started on the review. All right. So the original truffle was in the shape of a right cylinder. So this is the right cylinder here, with a radius of 2 centimeters and a height of 3.25 centimeters. The new one is equivalent to the old one and is in the shape of a triangular braced right prism with sides measuring 6 centimeters and 4 centimeters and a contained angle of 104 degrees. Both of the chocolates, along with their dimensions, are illustrated below. So all of Marcy's chocolates come with foil wrapping covering their entire surface. So we're talking about the foil, right, that they're using to wrap these chocolates is all around, which is the surface area of the volume. Right? Okay, ladies, gentlemen, wake up. There's people that want to learn. If you're too busy talking, then text each other. Okay? So we have two shapes here. The left one here, right, the cylinder, was what was previously used. These are both equivalent, which means that they share the same volume. Okay? In 2D, they shared the same area. Now they share the same volume. Okay? Our goal, basically, is to find the surface area of both and see which one will have the smaller surface area. Okay? Make sense? Okay. So I'll draw these out, and I would consider you do the same. Just a rough sketch. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah. Why are you bringing your entire binder? And just take out your...
Oh, but it's all on so nicely, because then I'm gonna have to... Because it's in a folder.
It looks like you're leaving for the rest of the day, from my perspective. Okay. So I drew a similar idea here. Okay. So we know that both of these are equivalent. Okay. So what we don't know, okay, is this side here and the height. Right? Of all the pieces of the missing information, that's what we need. Who has my formula sheet? The yellow one. Who has the yellow formula sheet? All right. So these are equivalent. So the first one we can do, the cylinder, we have all the information we need, right? So if I look here on my formula sheet, okay, I'll just hide it for a second. Cylinder is equal to volume pi r squared h. That's all I'm writing down. Pi r squared times h. Okay? I would recommend it. Okay? Just to get used to it. If not, it's always going to be online. So here I have, this is 3.14. R squared is 2 squared times h, which is 3.25. Okay? So then we do this in our calculator. 3.14 times 4, which is 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. Times 3.25, I get is equal to a volume. Pardon? Just, I would write volume equivalence. Centimeters cubed. Okay? So we know that these are equivalent. Yeah. So our volume of the cylinder is equal to our volume, of our prism. Which means the volume of the cylinder is right over here at 40.82 centimeters cubed. This is equal to the volume of our prism. Okay? So for a prism, we have the area of a base times the height. Okay? Here, this is just You're so stupid. It's like I put Kevin's name so they don't know it's me. So if you were to solve this now, what would be your first step? So he puts my name. So do we know the height of this? No. Do we know the area of the base? No, but we could probably figure it out because they're giving us already two sides and an angle. Right? So let's start with the area of the base. Okay? SOHCAHTOA, it's not a right angle triangle. What's your name? Okay? So this is where I'm going in pink. Okay? So area of the base. So I'm going to redraw the base out. Okay? So here you have 104 degrees. Here you have 4 centimeters. And here you have 6 centimeters. Okay? So that's the triangle that I'm figuring out. My goal where I'm headed, if you want to think like how I'm thinking, is that I want to find the third side length and then use Hurons. Okay? Because we already have 2 out of the 3. So if we can find the third one using a specific trigonometric law, right, which I assume that you can't, if you can't use SOHCAHTOA and you can't use sine law, then the only one left that we have is cosine. Right? So that's our only tool left. And cosine works really well with this type of situation. So if I use cosine law to solve for this length here, let's call it x. Then after I can use Hurons to find the area. Okay? Instead of breaking up my base. Because I'm trying to make it easier for you guys. Okay? So if we don't remember cosine law, like I don't, because we don't have time to memorize these types of things, I would recommend, though, that you write it down on your formula sheet, on your memory aid. Okay? So then here you would see that the law of cosines, I'm going to write it down, and then after I'll move back, okay? So that you see the camera. Okay? Here. So this is cosine law here. If you don't remember it, I would recommend you write it down. Okay? So this is where we're at right now.
Sir, could you
It's already on YouTube. I'm not going to go airdropping it to your phone. It's already accessible to you. In your dreams.
In your dreams.
Okay. So here, we can use X, or we can use C, or we can use whatever letter we're comfortable with, right? I think it'll be easier for you guys to see it if I use C. Okay? So here's my big C, here's my little c, here's my big A, here's little a, here's big B, here's little b. Just in the black. Yeah. You can just go. Okay? So c squared. Do we know what little c squared is? No. That's the point, right? That's why c squared is here, because that's what we're trying to solve. So I have a squared. So we look here, little a is 4. So 4 squared. And then b squared is 6. So 6 squared. Minus 2 times 4 times 6 times the cosangle of big C, which is 104. I think it is, Evan. Okay? If you haven't seen this version of cosine law before, I know sometimes they teach an alternative version, but this one is easier in my mind. Because from this point on, you've done all the difficult work. All you need to do is to solve. So 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16. Plus 6 squared, 6 times 6 is 36. Minus 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 6 is, 6 times 8 is 48. It rhymes. 6 times 8 is 48. That's how I remember it. So this is negative 48 times the cos of 104. Cos 104, I have no clue. Okay? I'm not going to pretend like I know cos of 104. I'll give you a second to write that down, and then after I'll switch to the calculator so you can see me input it all. Okay. I'll move back anyways. So we go to our calculator. Whatever you use as your calculator is fine. And then I'm going to put this in. So 16 plus 36 minus 48 times the cos of 104. Okay? We make sure that our answer is in degrees. Okay? So we click enter. We get that c squared is equal to 63.61. Okay. So then to simplify this at this point is pretty easy. It's just the square root of both. So c is equal to the square root of 63.61.
No, but I can't pose with all of them saying she's sexy as fuck. With all of them.
Okay? So now we just solved, just in case that wasn't clear, for C. Okay? So this is now 7.97 centimeters. Okay? So now we know all three sides. We just need to find the area. Yeah. Okay. So if I know all three sides of my triangle, then after I can save time by using Hero's formula. Okay. What you could also do is split this up and find the base and the height using Pythagorean, right? But that's too much. Don't waste your time doing that. It depends how long they are. Like this question's long. So it's like if you get a question like this, maybe like 2. Kind of thing. Because if it's taking me this much time, like, right? But there should be enough time. Because I calculate it, I time myself doing the exact same test, and then after I give you double the time. So.
Sir, can you show the pyramid for the mouth?
After, if we have time.
Oh, I get that one.
Okay, so this is C. Hero's formula, you need to solve for this p-value, which is perimeter divided by 2. I'm just reading off my formula sheet. Okay? So my perimeter is my perimeter of my triangle, which is 6 plus 7.97 plus 4 divided by 2. So 10, well, it's just, I know this, 17.97 divided by 2. So 8.99. This is S. Or start, well, it should be P. You guys use P, sorry. My bad. It's just a variable. I'm going to round this to 9. 8.99. I'm going to round it to 9. Okay. So 9 minus 4. 9 minus 6. And then 9 minus 7.97. Do you see where I'm headed with this? Okay, so this is Hero's formula. If you're not aware of it, the goal of it is that if you have all 3 sides, you can find the area, which is really much faster than trying to break it up into base times height divided by 2. Because at that time, then you have to use like Pythagorean and all that junk. Okay? So this here, I have to solve for a p-value, which is my perimeter divided by 2. So I found my perimeter, and I divided it by 2. Okay? So I get P is equal to 8.99. Here I approximate it as 9. Okay? Then I use the formula, which is the area of a triangle is equal to the square root of P, which is 9 in this case, I just solved it, times 9 minus side A, times 9 minus side B, times 9 minus side C. Okay? And that's what it looks like when you plug in the numbers. Okay? So then this here, Once I'm at this point, I just need to multiply, right? So 9 times 5 times 3 times 1, 0.03. 9 times 5 times 3 times 1.03. Okay? So now I found the area of my triangle. But my triangle is the face. I'll just take a second to let that settle in. I know it's long. But this is the hardest you'll ever see. So if I cover the hardest that you'll ever see, then you're good for the quiz. So that's just the area of the face of the prism. But then but the volume of the prism is what? The volume of the prism is what? It's the face times height. It's so easy at this point. You don't even hold. It's so, like, I'm sure, trust me, 2 seconds, it's like 2 lines, not even. 1 line. If you can do it, I can do it in my head now by looking at my paper. Okay?
I got like 2 pages.
You need it to pass, though. I'd tell you if you needed it in your life. I'd be honest. Okay, let's not lose ourselves, okay? Here, we had area of base times height is equal to 40, right? That's what we concluded. Our base here is 11.8. So our height is what? 40.82 divided by 11.8. So our height is equal to 3.45. I told you it was like 1 line, not even. Okay. 11.8 is equal to your height. So here, I had the volume of the cylinder is equal to the triangle, like the base, times the height. But we know the face is 11.8. So 11.8 times h, I just divide both sides by 11.8.
Don't we actually find volume now?
Well, the volume is equivalent. But now you would have to find the surface area, but we're not going to do that. That's not what I'm testing. I just wanted to get to this point. Technically, no, but for us, yes. For us, yes. I'm not going further. But I didn't test you on surface area, right? Well, it's not going to come. Okay? So the height of this triangular prism is 3.45. Well, yeah, but look at this. This here, it's like I'm exaggerating though. You know, you can go faster in your head. But it's doable though. If you have a plan from the beginning, if you have a plan of where you're going, it's doable. You just need to have the plan. But really, volumes set equal to each other solve for the missing variable. Right? This one we had to go into like the intermediate of solving for side C in the triangle. But the test questions or quiz questions probably won't be that hard. They're going to be more like the homework where you have like one variable. You know what I mean? You won't have to jump through that. But this is fair game on like a ministry exam. Right? Or like the school board exam. Evan, Is that really how you respect the women in your life?
No, it's my friend.
It's his dog. It's his dog.
And he started with me, so like.
That bee is in the cage where she belongs.
That's how you're supposed to.
That's disrespectful of him.
Take that back. No, but not to any of it, just to him, because he started with me.
That's not.
Not him, like some other
Okay? So this is a volume question.
I'm serious though.
Okay. So this is question 2, and I want to get through it just to give you an example of optimization. Okay? This should not be too difficult. This one is going to be way easier. I'm going to finish it if you want to take it down. Like, 1 second, okay? I just want to get it down, so then. Alright.
Sorry, Laplace calling you.
Yeah, in the library. They want to see you. Okay.
Right now, sir?
Ladies and gentlemen, you decided to get up, that's fine, but you need to respect the people learning. Alright? Which means not block the board will. So in this example, I'll say it close to the mic.
So they want to see me right now?
Yeah, right now. So Allison and Tom are in fencing, right? They're creating a fence for a garden. Allison has no requirements. Tom must create a 4-sided shape. Allison chooses the circle, the most optimal shape. That's what you need to remember. 2 pi r is equal to 100. You solve for r. Tom must use a square. A new question. Okay? So here it's base squared is equal to 100. I isolate for the base. So Tom's garden will be 10 by 10. Okay? So yeah, go back to this, right? Allison, though, chooses the circle. You need to remember the most optimal shape is a circle. Okay? And you set hers to 2 pi r. So the circumference of the circle will be less than the perimeter of the square. Okay? If you need to come and see me, be my guest. Tomorrow and Wednesday at lunch, I'm available the entire time.
And how long is Quick gonna take?
The entire time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where are you available?
Okay.